What's up, guys? Welcome back to the program. We're talking Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank in Los Angeles this weekend at the Intuit Dome. WWE hasn't been back to the Intuit Dome since Raw on Netflix's debut. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa battling it out for the status of Tribal Chief. Tribal Combat battling it out for the Ula Fala. Roman Reigns and The Rock kind of had a moment in the ring. The High Chief and the Tribal Chief. We saw John Cena's first night of his retirement tour back when he was a babyface, believe it or not. A tear almost wipes my eye a little bit with that, because we're going to see John Cena as a heel this Sunday with arguably the biggest heel in pro wrestling, Logan Paul, taking on Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. We saw Cody Rhodes and The Rock kiss each other on the cheek. That was a weird thing at the Intuit Dome on Raw on Netflix. They have since shared souls and have since, been a part of the biggest heel turn in WWE history with John Cena. We saw a main event between CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and we're still seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins battle it out storyline-wise. There's a lot to get into. Let's kind of go with the cliff notes, though, of what we're going to see this Sunday or this Saturday at Money in the Bank. We're going to see Seth Rollins compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match. We're going to see John Cena and Logan Paul take on Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, presumably in the main event. A main event match, a main event tag team match that we didn't necessarily want, but it's a tag team match that we're going to get regardless of if we want it or not. John Cena and Logan Paul are here to ruin wrestling. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso are here to save wrestling. Cody Rhodes is going to be the guy that's going to save wrestling from John Cena, who wants to ruin it by walking out with the WWE Championship in his final night in December. Presumably, it looks like at Saturday night's main event in Boston, Massachusetts at the TD Garden. We shall see, though. But John Cena is not going to be defending the WWE Championship, it looks like, until potentially Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia at the end of June. So we shall see, presumably against Cody Rhodes, given that it is a Saudi match and they pay the big bucks to have the big matches at their events. So we're probably going to see John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. But John Cena and Logan Paul teaming up as a tag team, you couldn't have drawn it up any better yourself, because Logan Paul is probably the biggest heel in wrestling from the standpoint that fans not only boo him on camera, but they boo him off camera. They don't like Logan Paul. I mean, there's a lot of wrestling fans that don't like Logan Paul. There's a lot of generic, everyday walking people and citizens that don't like Logan Paul. There's a lot of people that like John Cena behind the scenes. He's the most Make-A-Wish granter of all time. But he's a heel in the WWE right now. He's the WWE champion, and because he turned heel, being the squeaky clean good guy that he is the biggest heel in professional wrestling today, alongside Logan Paul. So those two are teaming up to quote-unquote ruin pro wrestling. Jey Uso is in a storyline with Logan Paul right now. He's also in a storyline with Gunther. He's also in a storyline now with John Cena. He's also in a storyline with Cody Rhodes. He's also in a storyline with CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman. Jey Uso's got a lot on his plate, and he's got a big World Heavyweight Championship match against Gunther on the Raw after Money in the Bank in Phoenix, Arizona. But Logan Paul and Jey Uso are the rivals in this tag team match. John Cena and Cody Rhodes are the other rivals, right? It's the champion, it's the world champion and the WWE champion challenger versus the WWE champion and the World Heavyweight Champion challenger. This is, like I said, a tag team match that I can't really explain any further than what I just did. It's a tag team match that's a filler main event for, I would argue that Money in the Bank is the fifth most popular WWE pay-per-view. Obviously, there's the big four. There's WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Money in the Bank isn't quite on that level yet, but Money in the Bank is a very popular pay-per-view that's been around for almost 12, 13 years now. We've tallied all of the big moments for Money in the Bank over the past week. Money in the Bank is a big pay-per-view that is not getting a huge pay-per-view card this year. We saw a tag team match with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens versus the New Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga last year as our main event. And now we're seeing another tag team match main event that I don't think will amount to much. Personally, I think it's going to set up John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. I could see the finish of this match being Cody Rhodes pinning John Cena to earn his way to another WWE Championship match at Night of Champions. And then you probably have another blow-off match between Rhodes and Cena at SummerSlam. Maybe The Rock gets involved. Maybe Travis Scott gets involved. So there's a lot to tell there. I think on the World Heavyweight Championship side, maybe you see a false cash in. Maybe Seth Rollins wins the Money in the Bank contract. And that is my pick to win this year's men's Money in the Bank ladder match in 2025 in Los Angeles. Seth freaking Rollins. I think he's the only one that makes sense to win the Money in the Bank ladder match this year. I mean, out of the six, you have Seth Rollins, you have Penta, you have Andrade, you also have Solo Sikoa, who to me is probably a far second to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. You have LA Knight, who would be a fan favorite if he did. I think he'd get a big pop if he did win, especially in his hometown of Los Angeles, California. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not even going to mention El Grande Americano / Chad Gable. He's not winning the match, though. Presumably, if they really wanted to tell a story over the next 12 months with the Money in the Bank contract holder, they could. Remember, Money in the Bank 2026 in New Orleans, Louisiana is going to be held on August 29th. So August 29th, 2026, this one being held on June 7th, 2025. You're going to have 14 months to hold that briefcase. You get an extra 2 months, I'm assuming. Usually you get the entire calendar year, 365 days. This year, Money in the Bank is going to be extended to August in 2026, And the WWE whole structure, their whole summer structure was always Money in the Bank, filler pay-per-view, SummerSlam, if not Money in the Bank, and then SummerSlam, because usually Money in the Bank's in July. Next year, it's going to be in late August after SummerSlam. So they're going to have 14 full months to cash in. I could see them going long-term with a Solo Sikoa or an El Grande Americano, maybe even a Penta. But I think Seth Rollins is the clear favorite, not only from a star power standpoint, but just from an overall storyline perspective. He's the only one that could probably hold that briefcase and tell a story for the next 6 to 9 to 12 months. Running roughshod on Raw and instilling fear into the world champion, whether it's Jey Uso, whether it's Gunther, whether it's Logan Paul, whether it's Bill Goldberg, who might come back at some point to fight Gunther. Gunther versus Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. That's something that WWE would do in the past. It's not something Paul Levesque would have done, but it might be something that TKO might do, given that TKO's kind of been all over the place over the last few months. R-Truth's getting released. Carlito's getting released. Slim Jim's being put on the table. Slim Jim's logo is being put everywhere. Next thing we know, Cody Rhodes is going to have a Wheatley vodka jacket for the American Nightmare. There's a lot going on in WWE from a business perspective that fans aren't really excited about. But I digress. Seth Rollins holding the Money in the Bank contract in 2025, maybe even bleeding into 2026. I predicted that maybe he's the one that saves WWE from John Cena, cashes in on him to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship to set up a storyline at WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas against Roman Reigns. Maybe Seth Rollins cashes in right away against Jey Uso and runs roughshod as the World Heavyweight Championship. As the World Heavyweight Champion with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed by his side to kind of be his hyenas in a sense. Maybe we see Seth Rollins win the World Heavyweight Championship down the line against a Sami Zayn after Sami Zayn has a great run and eventually wins the World Heavyweight Championship. I'd sign up for Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn, or Seth Rollins wins the title immediately, and then it culminates in CM Punk finally winning a World Championship in WWE for the first time in 12 years, and having him defeat Seth Rollins yet again and become the World Heavyweight Champion, kind of adding a shining to that World Heavyweight Championship that really hasn't been seen since Seth Rollins first won it back in 2024. Remember, Seth Rollins was the champion for nearly 9 months before Drew McIntyre beat him at WrestleMania 40, and then he held it for about 5 minutes and 15 seconds before Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and became world champion for about 5 months. And then Gunther held the title from SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania before Jey Uso beat him for the title. And now we don't know when Jey Uso is going to relinquish the World Championship, whether it be potentially at Money in the Bank during a cash-in, potentially on Monday Night Raw against Gunther in Phoenix. I don't see Jey Uso being the World Champion for that much longer, but it's been a fun ride. Jey Uso will not lose any popularity, whether he's a single superstar without a title or whether he's the World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins, I think, is in a point in his career and at a point in the storyline right now where he needs to be a champion. He needs to be the modern-day Roman Reigns. What Roman Reigns was as the tribal chief with Jey and Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman. Now it's Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. So my pick to win the WWE Men's Money in the Bank ladder match this year is going to be Seth freaking Rollins. And then I have Cody Rhodes defeating John Cena, pinning John Cena in this tag team match to give Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso a win over John Cena. And yeah,